Holy crap! What did we just watch?
Chaos.
I'm Esther Lind. This is Jose Youngs for the MMA Fighting Post Show. UFC Fight Night Denver. Just.
I'm at a loss for words too.
Yeah, it's kind of just blew me
If I
away.
had to sum it up, I'd just be like,
Yeah.
it was an exhausting card from top to bottom. But all in all, I mean, UFC's 25th anniversary was a banger.
Yeah. Success, right?
Success across the board, I think.
Yeah. So, what did you think of that main event? Did it go exactly as you thought?
It did in terms of the action. It did. I remember in our preview show, I said I was so looking forward to this fight in terms of just pure martial arts. Like take title implications, take main events, take 25th anniversary, everything out. I loved this fight. I would have watched them just spar in a gym, and it delivered. I mean, Korean Zombie was walking through all of those leg kicks like right away. Like, I think the first kick to the lead leg, like buckled him. And he was just whipping in that straight right to the nose of Yair. Yair was taking it, circling away, throwing like all these kicks to the knees, to the bodies, and Zombie was walking through them.
True to his name.
True to his name. Walked right through a standing elbow against the fence. It was unbelievable to watch. Probably fight of the year. Definitely finish of the year. I mean, you got like a perfect angle, a picture of it, of 1 second. I mean, we got the official scorecards. Korean Zombie was winning all the scorecards. He was 1 second away from winning, and he ate a standing elbow right to the face, and then just crumpled. I mean, he was a floor mat. It was a pretty scary scene. Casey, our cameraman, was saying in the back that they didn't even show a lot of it on air because it was too grisly. I mean, he was face down, and they rolled him over, and he was still out.
Yeah, he fell down right in front of me, and I just kind of sat there and I kept taking photos, and I noticed how long it was taking him.
Yeah.
He wasn't moving at all, so I was really nervous. But actually, Yair Rodriguez threw that elbow earlier in the fight, kind of didn't land perfectly. So he tried it again at the very last second, and I just remember thinking at that moment when Korean Zombie fell, I was like, wait, what just happened?
I thought it was a headbutt because Zombie was going down and Yair was like forward. I thought he went into his shoulder or headbutt him. And then on the replay, it was clear it was a picture perfect elbow. It was about as perfect as you can get. Crowd went nuts. Yair like hurt his leg like celebrating, but it was probably an accumulation of just all the damage he took. Blood was across the canvas. Eventually, Korean Zombie did get up and he walked out of the octagon on his own power. But fight of the year, knockout of the year. Both men got performance bonuses. They were both transported to the hospital right away. But I picked Korean Zombie to win. I believe you picked Korean Zombie to win
I did too.
He was 1 second away from winning, but all in all, beautiful fight. Absolutely beautiful fight.
What's next?
Yair Rodriguez, I still want to see him fight Zabit. I think that's the fight to make. Zabit called him out. Like, before the fight even started, Zabit tweeted that, "I'm watching you two." And then right away, he's like, "Who do you want to fight?" And Yair, like, obviously, he was just not in the state of mind to call out a fight. Like, he was literally like, "How do you feel?" And he's just like shit. Like, that was his exact phrase. He couldn't, during the post-fight interview, his coaches were holding him up.
Yeah.
And he couldn't walk out of the octagon. His coaches carried him. So I want to see the Zabit fight. I know fans want to see the Zabit fight. I think that's the fight to make. And we have a lot of ESPN Plus cards coming up. I don't know how you don't book that on some main event.
Where does this put him, though, in the rankings?
I'm back in the rankings. I don't know if near the top 10. Zombie was way up there.
Yeah.
He hasn't fought in a long time. He got mauled by Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
And he did beat BJ Penn, but it was 2016, 2017 BJ Penn. I don't think it puts him near the top 5 yet, but definitely near the top 10.
All right. So we've already decided that this is probably finish of the year?
Yes,
so
100%.
far, all the way up to this point.
It's not even a question. It's knockout, finish, whatever. Like, give him all the bonuses. Like, it was unbelievable. Comeback of the year. I mean, he was losing the whole fight.
Yeah.
And then he wins with 1 second left. Like we were saying, Macy Barber lower on the card. She scored a TKO in her UFC debut, and she was like, "I'm gonna get a bonus." She was so confident. She was 1 second away from getting a bonus.
Yep.
As soon as he landed that elbow, Macy Barber's bonus was just erased. So, give them all the bonuses, all the fight of the nights, all the fight of the years you can imagine.
What do you think should be next for Korean Zombie?
I don't know. I would have loved to see him fight Frankie Edgar, but Frankie Edgar is obviously close to a title shot. Maybe Cub Swanson. I know Cub Swanson was tweeting about it. He really liked that fight. There's a lot of featherweight fights coming up. Bektic and Mendez, and Bektic and Moicano, and Mendez is fighting later on. So there's a lot of featherweight fights coming up. I'd like to see him maybe fight a loser of that. Korean Zombie versus Chad Mendes sounds great, but obviously Chad Mendes is booked up. But I'd like to see how the next month or so plays out. I mean, he's not fighting anytime soon anyway.
No.
Like, he'll probably fight maybe the summer.
Yeah.
Yair's probably not fighting anytime soon either. So let's give this month, run through this month before we fantasy book those two.
Okay. All right. Let's go down to the co-main event with Donald Cerrone winning with an unbelievable armbar and bringing his son in.
Yeah.
Simba.
I mean, he's never got a UFC title, but he carried his son around the octagon, which I would imagine is better. It's his first fights as a father. There was a lot of animosity, not between Cowboy and Perry. Cowboy himself said that it was him and Coach Mike Winklejohn who was in Mike Perry's corner, and Mike Perry was just not part of it. Donald Cerrone said he was willing to stand and bang with Mike Perry. Mike Perry didn't believe him. Mike Perry ended up going for a takedown. Donald Cerrone switched it on him and got an arm bar and just finished it and said he was taking that arm home.
Yes.
Mike Perry later tweeted he broke his arm, which is just unbelievable. The crowd went berserk. Donald Cerrone told me in the scrum after that, before obviously the biggest moment of his career was beating Melvin Gillard in Denver. He said this has surpassed it. Because his son was there, he broke the UFC record for most wins and most finishes. It puts him 1 or 2 fights closer to the most total fights. So Donald Cerrone said it's the best moment of his career, and he was all smiles after. Unbelievable performance. Unbelievable. Probably, I would say, one of the best performances of his career.
It was really great and thrilling in the arena. I remember just how loud it got. I always have earplugs in, and it still felt overwhelming.
Well, your photos in that fight were unbelievable too. I mean, the way Cerrone was torquing that arm. As soon as he flipped it, I saw him torque on it. And I was like, oh, maybe Mike Perry will tap. And then as soon as he did, I was like, oh, it must have been deep, because it was on the other side of the octagon from media row. As soon as I saw your photos, I was like, oh, I mean, if I'm Cerrone, as soon as I lock that in, that's a wrap. And Mike Perry was like, that he had no chance.
As soon as Mike Perry took Donald Cerrone down, my first thought was, oh, you done goofed.
Yeah, and then there was a moment Mike Perry did pop out the back and kind of take top control.
Yeah.
But like we said in the preview show, Donald Cerrone is so good off his back that just because you're on top, you're probably in more danger. You're just as much in danger on top of him as you are standing with him. So Mike Perry played right into Donald Cerrone's hands in that fight.
After the fight, Donald Cerrone said he wanted to go back to 155.
Yeah.
And then in the post-fight scrum, he kind of said there was a name already, and then he wouldn't tell us, and he wouldn't let us guess. What are your best guesses?
I really want to see Justin Gaethje fight Donald Cerrone. I think that would be an awesome scrap. Both guys don't need to talk trash with their. They don't even talk Justin Gaethje and James Vick talked all that greasiness, but they had animosity before. That fight, I think, just is unbelievable. I think it's very reminiscent of the Eddie Alvarez Gaethje or Poirier Gaethje, where they're just like, we're just gonna be violent in the octagon. Yeah. There's a lot of fights at lightweight, like Kevin Lee's obviously has a fight coming up, Ali Quinta has a fight coming up. Obviously Gaethje, Poirier is supposedly going to be healthy again. There's always Nate Diaz out there. Whether he fights again or not is a mystery. But Donald Cerrone did say he's calling for Khabib's belt. It's not. He doesn't care when, or doesn't care where. It's when. So he's confident already. He's already calling out the champ. He's probably not going to get that fight anytime soon. But Donald Cerrone at lightweight is throwing a lot into an already stacked division.
And then we saw the return of Jermaine Durandamy.
Yes.
Against Raquel Pennington.
Yes.
What did you think of her performance?
It was good. I didn't say it blew me away. Raquel Pennington obviously missed weight, so I thought Raquel was going to win, and then as soon as she weighed in, we saw her just sucked out. She looked pretty bad. I switched my pick to Jermaine. Jermaine was very, very emotional backstage. She was crying. She said she was back. She was upset she didn't get the finish. She said there was a moment where she had like a freak accident where she almost she injured her eye, and it almost cost her career. So she was, I've been to a lot of media scrums, a lot of press conferences. That's probably one of the top 5 most emotional scrums or interviews I've ever seen. So whether her performance in the octagon didn't blow me away, but she she was so emotional, and she's just so happy to be back. She's obviously back in the mix. I mean, 135 pound, like we said in the preview show, there's a lot that has to happen with Amanda and Cyborg, but she's back. She's right there now.
Let's go down. Actually, I just wanted to talk about Macy Barber.
Yeah, we talked about it for a little bit. Hometown girl.
Yes.
Didn't look like a UFC newcomer.
No.
She walked to the octagon smiling. She won the fight, TKO. We both said Cypher's strength would probably play a factor. Macy herself said she was the strongest opponent she's ever fought, but as soon as they locked up, it looked like an atomweight fighting a strawweight. And her size just played a huge factor, and she just steamrolled, bloodied her up, and just ran right through her, and then yelled at Dana White like, "I won the bonus," and then obviously Yair stole it from her.
Yes.
Only wants to fight on big cards.
Yes.
She said this was a big card. She wants to be a big card fighter. So she's only 20, so she wants to be the youngest UFC champion ever. The sky's the limit for her. She looks great.
Do you think she gets that Mackenzie Dern fight she wants?
I would love to see that. I mean, Mackenzie is coming off a win, but she did miss weight. Macy Barber did say she struggled to make weight, but she had a couple nutritionists that led her wrong, down the wrong path, and she's still trying to get over that. But she said she's going to hire a correct nutritionist, and she talked to me in the Mackenzie Dern fight. So I think that's the fight to make for sure. She's Mackenzie, I believe, is like the 15-14 fighter, and sure, shallow division, might as well.
And the last thing I wanted to touch on actually was the Chaz Skelly and Bobby Moffett.
Yeah, real controversial. Bobby Moffett got, I believe it was a Darce choke near the cage fence, and Chaz Skelly wasn't out. He was circling away. He said he was going limp because that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to like tense up and try and power your way out. He was gonna like wait it out. He said the altitude would have played a factor. Like Bobby Moffett was squeezing for like a good minute. He was waiting for his arms to gas out, and he was gonna pop out. He was doing everything correctly, and the referee stepped in and stopped the fight, said your eyes were flickering, and he's like, "What are you doing? Like, what the fuck?" Like, so Chaz Skelly was rightfully very angry, apologized to the ref, apologized to everyone in the crowd, apologized to us for getting mad.
Yes.
So, very controversial. They went to replay, didn't matter. Very odd. I wasn't cage side, I was back here doing some scrums. I don't know how it looks. I don't know how did it look octagon side?
For me, octagon side, I thought that Chaz Skelly wasn't out. It seemed pretty clear, like as soon as the fight was over, he was already getting up and like angry. Like you could tell right away that this was gonna be a big problem.
Right. Did anyone in the crowd know what was going on? Because like we had the TVs, we could see them checking the replay.
The crowd knew, and the crowd was booing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the crowd was very unhappy. They didn't really have a stake in either guy. No one was the local, but they definitely felt like Chaz Skelly got screwed. So.
Yeah, and Chaz Skelly did say he was going to appeal first thing in the morning. He would want to run the fight back, but Chaz Skelly himself was like, if I'm Bobby Moffett, I'm not taking the rematch. Like, I'm just moving on. Bobby Moffett was like, I don't care. Like, I'll take the rematch. Like, I'll fight whoever they give me. Sure, run it back. I mean, it was clearly controversial. We've seen that happen before.
Yeah. Even in the cage, actually, when they were interviewing him, Bobby seemed like he's like, oh, I don't know. He kind of seemed actually pretty meek about it. Most of the time when people win, they're kind of like, even in the interview, they just tell the guy, no, I'm fine, I did it, I won, whatever, even if it's close.
Right.
Bobby Moffett clearly felt uneasy about the win.
Yeah, and he said himself, like, this was his first UFC fight. He was really, really excited to fight on the UFC 25th anniversary card. Like, he wanted to win. He saw the mat, and he saw they were doing the old school graphics from UFC 1.
And the sounds.
He was so excited to fight on this card, and then he's like, and then it just got ruined, and it was like, he was so bummed out. He wanted to, like, do the pose in the thing. He did it in the back force, but he was just really bummed out. Especially on this card, you have to feel for everyone involved. Even Beneil Dariush back here, I asked him about it because he is a black belt, so I wanted to get his take on it. And he was like, you gotta feel for the ref, Bobby, Chaz. Like, he said it was so frustrating to watch because he saw what Chaz was doing, and Chaz was doing what you're supposed to do when you're stuck in a Darce choke, and the ref took that away from him.
Yeah.
So he was like very frustrated as a black belt watching it. So it was very fascinating to get him breaking it down.
Yeah, and Dariush with a good win as well.
Oh yeah, he ran through a newcomer, and he said he talked to his opponent after. His opponent only came out like a week before, and he's like,
Yeah.
you can't do that in Denver. So it's just a veteran talking to a young newcomer, but he did praise him a lot, said he had the makings of a future champion. But yeah, Beneil Dariush said he almost forgot how to win. He hadn't won in like 2-3 years, so he was pretty happy to be back in the win column. Said he wanted to fight as soon as possible, so well, it's great to see him back.
Yeah. So, what did you think of the card?
10 out of 10. Just a banger all around. Can't the best card, one of the best fight cards I've been to.
Awesome. For Jose, I'm Esther. And for everyone at MMAfighting.com, thanks for watching all of our coverage this week. Keep it at MMAfighting.com for more of your favorite interviews, scrums, photos, everything you would want to know about UFC Fight Night Denver and the coming cards in the coming weeks. Thanks very much.